Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Wishing you a happy and healthy start to this late Saturday morning over here from a very, if you can't tell, sunny Helsinki, Finland. Holy shit, this is actually the most sunniest I've ever seen it in weeks now. Anyways, we got plenty to discuss because Bitcoin, well, you already know. It's back above that prize $60,000 number. And of course, we got the good old ETF and all sorts of flooding of good news comes on in and the price pumpola's up. So with that in mind, I want to focus today a little bit on the higher term time frame analysis, a few interesting things right there. And then of course, a little bit of low term time frame analysis as well. But I do have to get on my way with the rest of the day as I'm going to Dubai for the rest of the, I don't know, next 4 or 5 days. So with that said, going to be a little bit on the lighter side today. And probably for the days to follow, obviously not going to be any live streams until, I mean, realistically, I guess maybe end of this coming week or perhaps the Monday starting after that. Anyways, either which way, we'll figure it out as we go. I'll probably do these short-term updates though in the interim. And with that in mind, let's get into it right now. Start off with the Krown application, which of course can be found in the link description below and is 100% free as well. And what do we see? Actually, Bitcoin dominance continuing to head up, holding its levels more importantly, of course. But over the weekend, I do look for this to kind of play back a little bit as Bitcoin does essentially go sideways, maybe even drop off a bit here. And altcoins do kind of pick up the slack on that. But with that in mind, long term, I'm still very much bullish on Bitcoin dominance, not necessarily altcoin Bitcoin parents. Although, of course, a strong Bitcoin versus the dollar is going to generally benefit altcoins as well. So with that in mind, let me just make sure that I'm actually recording. I am recording, so that's good. That's very good, actually. And we can still see that the fear and greed index still at about a 70 read, which is greedy, of course, but not like super extremely greed as you would typically expect within these regions. Just want to quickly check out where we're at on the top 10 best coins list as, yes, a lot of big winners over the last 24 hours. We see New Cypher, The Graph, AMP, Unis, Polkadot, Polygon, KuCoin, Token, Rabbit Bitcoin, RamBTC, and then, of course, hey, there she is, Bitcoin herself. And then let's also do a quick little look at the open interest as well. I just want to quickly see it over here. Yeah, there we go. There it is, making new highs above our last major September dumpola, and we are certainly within the critical zone for that. We do see global open interest is just above 13 billion with a B now, and the global leverage ratio still heading upwards and onwards as well. But as we identified yesterday, a lot of this is going to be short squeezing, however, or sorry, going to lead into a bit of a short squeeze, as a lot of this open interest, as we did see yesterday, was essentially, well, marketed shorts, as we did look at on the trade aggregator. Anyways, I don't want to get too deep into that right now. I want to get on with this video, and let's get into the most important thing to be aware of that happened in the last 24 hours, and that would be this right here, CME chart. We did close above the top side of the weekly Bollinger Band for the second week in a row. This is good. Volatility expanding alongside trend continuation on what was a confirmed reversal 2 weeks ago. If you were super aggressive, you could even done it a little bit earlier than that. And this is looking really good for Bitcoin to make new all-time highs, maybe in October, probably November in this case. And we can start to play the same game that we had before, in the sense that as long as Bitcoin is closing these weekly dildos above the top side Bollinger Band, I am just essentially bullish on a weekly schedule, looking for a continuation of trend and corrections back down somewhere around wherever the top side Bollinger Band is, which is where? Just about $59,000 right now. So Bitcoin did want to kind of dump off, over the weekend or early this coming week, something like that. That would be a nice area to be aware of. Anywhere between about 58 and 59 kind of is what I have in my mind's eye right now, just without going too deep into it. And then let's also bring up some indicators right here. Is there anything to be aware of right now? Yeah, I did want to point this out here too, the PMARP with the settings that I'm running, which a lot of people have been asked about that. I'm just running this, very simple stuff. And what did I find over here? Well, what I found is that when running, I believe I am running the PMARP right now. Let me actually just check. Yeah, it is the PMARP. When we do see it kind of base off this moving average right here, this white moving average, just a 20 simple actually, does seem to correlate with, macro runs in this sense. And it's actually going to be a lot better if we do it on a more long-term horizon. You can see right here, generally above it, good, bad, generally below it. And right now, we corrected down to there on that last major run down to about $40,000. So all is well and good from that regard. Other than that, what I want to do is I want to put on my Fibonacci extensions here, as we do essentially have, the etchings of a breakout in front of our very face. We also do have some technical targets as well, obviously, which is going to be based upon actually something I pointed out a month ago in like May, April, or sorry, yeah, it was, sorry, May, no, not May, June. It was more like around June over here, when everyone was talking about this head and shoulders right here, which, technically speaking, there was one, but head and shoulders, just in my experience, are terrible formations to be playing. Typically like below a 30% probability even fucking work out, which is not that great in my opinion, especially when you're completing them above like major moving averages as well, of which this one certainly was. So with that in mind, the failure of an inverted head and shoulder target is actually a little bit more applicable in this sort of a realm. And how do you do that? Well, you essentially take the same sort of measure move that you would have for the regular head and shoulders, and then apply it to what would be the right shoulder in this case. And you can see that that's actually pointed up exactly to where the 1.618 Fibonacci extension is. Just around 69,000 bucks, a great number as well. So with that in mind, I am generally looking up there. Very likely going to be stops along the way, perhaps somewhere right around here, just below 50, not 50, but 64,000 bucks. Damn, man, these numbers are getting too big. Dyslexia is going to really fuck me around this time for sure. Probably looking at some pullbacks around the way. Obviously, it's not going to be in a straight line. But generally speaking, looking up basically just south of 70,000 bucks, looking good right there. Anyways, with that in mind, let's go over here and let's go over the lower term timeframes for what it's worth right now. And what do we see on the 4 hour? Just looking at this right here, yeah, this is fine. If it was a real weekday here, I'd be like, oh, this is just reaccumulating at a high level above 61,000 bucks. It's all well and good. Uptrend remains, and that is very likely to continue to, probably that next $64,000 target short term, and then probably pulls it up to 69 maybe over the next couple weeks here. With that in mind, it is a weekend, and this would be the time to really, grab some liquidity below, wash out some of those over-leveraged late longers, and then run it the other way, most likely. So in this case right here, if I am going to be using an hourly, I want to be as conservative as possible, as being that it is a Saturday. I would not be looking for any sort of general continuation towards $64,000 next short-term target, as long as Bitcoin's closing hourly deltas below 62,900. Again, closure on an hourly. If you're using a 4 hour, I'd probably just say the same thing, to be honest with you. I do like to err on the side of caution on, especially during these times. And to be quite honest with you, I'm probably looking for a correction somewhere down, maybe to 60,000 bucks. I think that wouldn't be asking for too much from here. Perhaps as low, if things really get crazy, to about just under 59,000 bucks from our last sort of major consolidation and breakout that we saw Thursday, Friday, of course. So with that in mind, let's go check out if we see any sort of divergences building up right now, as we would kind of expect during this time. And technically yes, right here, although this is not the divergence that you're looking for, to quote the old Star Wars right there, but what do I mean by that? You really want to see it a lot more aggressive into the critical zone. We're on a buy early right here, and this is really not even getting that, stretched out. Looking at the 4 hour, same thing. This is actually still really, really good, really, really healthy. And I imagine CME is the same thing here as well. Yeah, a little bit higher right there, to be fair, but overall, if I'm looking at this from a medium and long-term perspective, kind of just focusing on the week to come, yeah, generally looking upside from here. 64 and 69 are the big numbers that I'm looking at right now. Short term over the weekend, if there is going to be a test of the downside, that's kind of where I'd be looking at it for. And how would I kind of judge that as actionable for the hourly right here? Pretty simple, actually, just below 60,850 on an hourly closure. And then yes, I would be looking for this one to correct down minimum just below 60,000 bucks, probably around 59.8 to 59.9. Give it a chance to bounce there, and then if bounce fails, then yeah, look for that, or at least I'd be looking for that next 59, just below $59,000 target. With that in mind, sideways is obviously really, really good here for the Boolaws. Anything above 60,000 bucks, especially on a daily closure, is phenomenal. And we can also go look at momentum oscillators over here as well and see if they kind of agree with that, of which 4 hour Stokes are going to be downside angled as long as we are closing below 62,300, and that's going to be confirmed in about 9 minutes from now. Actually, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to just immediately drop off from here. As soon as that confirms, just I'll be looking for a little bit more sideways again. Just playing out the overall range. Buy hourly, what are we seeing right here? Same thing, 62,000 bucks, the nice pivot on this one. And hourly is going to be 60 to 100. So actually all of those momentum oscillators kind of turning down on that time frame, all closing in the same schedule as well. And yeah, 3 hours going to be another hour from there, but very similar number, 62, 600. Let's go check out the medium term and the higher term time frames, of which we got 12 hour right here, showing 61,000 bucks. So you can see, and funnily enough, the HVP on this is actually just starting to point up, which is fucking phenomenal, baby. Fucking phenomenal. Holy shit. And daily $62,000 pivot as well. So, do we have a quick wick down and then bring it back above 62,000 bucks by end of day? That's completely fine. Overall, I do expect that Bitcoin will really trade higher from here and wash out a few more of those, of those leverage shorts first. You do a little bit of a squeeze up, and then probably play out one of those medium or higher term time frame pullbacks. Again, I really dislike doing things over the weekend, but for what it's worth here, daily is still pretty fucking bullish. 5 days going to be closing tomorrow. That's really fucking bullish coming into the next 5 to 10 days after tomorrow night's closure. And weekly, same thing as well, as we discussed earlier. So you know, it's quite the setup going on right now. That's kind of the ranges that I'll be looking at for the time being. Technically speaking, you know, again, if you're just looking at the hourly right here, this is completely fine. If this was on a weekday, I'd have no problem calling continuation from here. Looking at 64 short term and probably 69 maybe later this coming week or the week after that. But I would be cognizant of this level right here. Again, 60,850, any sort of an hourly closure below there. I would be looking for the next hour, $1,000 dump off to the downside. Give it a chance to bounce just around that region, just below 60,000 bucks. If that fails, and I'm looking towards just below 59 in this case right here, well, you know, give it the benefit of the doubt. I do expect. And if you're long term, I mean, this is not really relevant to you to begin with, because you're probably just like, well, why do I give a fuck about $1,000 move when things are probably, you know, going much higher than here. You know, again, just kind of keep in mind what the higher term timeframes look like at this point, which is, you know, you might say impressive. Monthly, with a couple weeks left to go, has a chance to close, has a chance to close on new all-time highs. The bi-monthly will also be closing as well. That's not bearish, maybe not bearish. And of course, we got the quarterly, which is not going to be closing at the end of this month, but at the end of December, obviously. And you know, look, this is continuation. This is continuation, barring any sort of like major black swan, to some more ridiculous numbers, which we can probably get more excited for as time goes onwards and forwards. Here's, we have a 2-day closer tonight. Nope, we have a new 2-day close. No, we do not have a new 2-day closing all-time high, but it is pretty fucking high regardless of that. Looking good. And of course, that was also the couple of things that we're looking for over here on CME, the 2-day and I believe the 3-day close above the top side Toronto band. Yeah. So again, you know, if there is going to be any downside, I do think it's mostly just opportunities. You know, at most maybe 58 to 58.5. Personally speaking, I do think anywhere around just below 6,000 bucks is fair game. Ultimately, though, you know, this is speaking volumes right here. This is really good, really good. So, you know, if you stuck around in this market for the past, you know, 4 or 5 months now, congratulations, because I suspect that this is probably what you've been waiting for, myself included. It's been really some really tough times, some really fun times, but a lot of opportunity along the way. So at the end of the day, you know, please do understand that we are traders on this channel first and foremost, and so we are going to be happy to be speaking about such things. Anyways, do I want to talk about anything else before we move on and shut this video off? Perhaps I'll go look at Bitcoin dominance, just kind of wrap up my thoughts on this really quickly here too. And again, over the weekend, if there is going to be a time where altcoins do kind of gain on their Bitcoin pairing, this would be the time that I'm looking for. But the monthly is, at least in my opinion, very obviously a local low going on right here. And whether you're bullish or bearish, you know, very likely does trade up significantly from here. 50% minimum over the next month and a half. And I'm looking realistically towards mid to upper 50s. Again, regardless of whether I'm bullish or bearish coming in, you know, maybe around end of year, early 2022 in this case. You know, obviously, if you're going to be bearish in this long term, you probably want to see your, you know, it is still lower high as long as you're especially below like 65. But obviously, this can, you know, travel up a lot more. And with the Bitcoin led rally, I do look at that as a really good thing for the general market. So. So congratulations. I mean, this is fucking awesome. And, well, hopefully I'm not getting too exuberantly irrational right now. But, you know, again, short-term timeframes, if there is going to be any sort of ebb and flow, that's kind of where I'm looking for right there. And I think I'll just be signing off now. Nice and quick and simple one today. Like I said, I'm going to probably be a little bit more on the lighter side over these next 5 to 6 days here. Just because, you know, I want to enjoy a new place. I've always wanted to visit the Middle East before I die, so get to go there with Miss Elsa, and looking forward to that. So with that said, I want to wish you well. Yeah, I want to wish you well. What else was I going to say? Well, with that said, take care, and I'll see you next time.